Hi everyone, it's Donna. Oh my gosh, I have missed you guys. I have not had the time or any space at all to do a recording in the last month, and so of course the new moon was yesterday, and that was like the universe saying, oh my gosh, you have to get a recording out. So anyway, some of you probably felt what I was feeling, which was definitely the Mars square Pluto. It was so overwhelming. There were so many, it was great. There was lots of opportunities, but there was also lots of heartache with everything people are going through right now. And of course, we pick these energies up, even if we're not expecting to, we can really absorb the energies. And so it took me a little bit to kind of right the ship, but now we're sailing on again. This last month, of course, I moved, and you can see by the new backdrop, and I also got my new book to the publisher. So that's the Chinese Astrology 2021 Year of the Metal Ox. So that is in pre-sale on Amazon. And I have been working on a lot of writing projects for horoscope.com and astrology.com. So there's links to some of that in the description. There will be links in the description box below. But let's talk about the new moon that was yesterday, just to give you kind of a heads up about what's going on. So of course, this was a new moon squaring Pluto, and it was separating energy. So we more felt it on approach, almost kind of when the new moon happened. I kind of took a sigh of relief, and so you might have as well. The energy now, at least in that regard, which is our sense of self and our emotions, is dissipating from that energy. It is that we're almost pulling away from the intensity of the Pluto. So it was about 24 hours, maybe 36 hours ago, that I said, you know what, I'm not going to watch the news for a little bit. I'm just going to put on some nice peaceful music. And when I'm doing writing, I like those study with me programs that a lot of those medical students do. I'll put a couple links to my favorites in the description box below. But it's just nice because, you glance over, somebody else is working. It feels like when I used to write at a coffee shop. So I enjoy that company, like we all do, and that's one way that I can do that. So, but now, sorry, I digress. So the sun and moon now are separating from the square to Saturn, and of course they are still going to approach. Sorry, the sun and moon are separating from the square to Pluto. Now they're approaching the square to Saturn, which is us becoming more disciplined. That's the best way to use it. You can see Saturn as being restrictive and that there's a wall in front of you, but mostly what it is to sit down and do the harder thing. That could be, that you have to maybe fill out a form or puzzle something out, or, as Cal Newport would say, do the deep work. And so you want to focus in while we're doing this approach tomorrow, maybe the next day. So that would be the 18th, a little bit on the 19th, and then that energy has passed. Additionally, of course, we were doing Mars square Pluto. That was a lot of the intensity that I was feeling, that all my clients were feeling. You were probably feeling it as well. Additionally, we were doing Mars trine South Node. So when Mars or any planet does a trine to the South Node, it's only doing a sextile to the North Node. And what that means is that it's much easier to go backwards and do something you've done before versus going forwards and doing the harder thing. And so I think that when Mars was doing the South Node, that's when I was kind of slipping back into some old patterns. I don't have a TV because I can be really addicted to television, and so instead there's YouTube. And so I was kind of caught up in constantly what's the next video type of thing. So, and you might have also found for you that there was some sort of south node thing pulling you back to an old habit that you don't want anymore. So then tomorrow on October 18, and I'm saying tomorrow in hopes that I'm getting this video out today, so I'm going to do a minimum of editing on this so I can get it out. Those of you who do YouTube know editing takes so long. It is amazing, but I do love it, and I really want to do more videos, and so I do plan to do more videos. I have a series on Chinese astrology coming up for 2021, so I'm going to get that up as soon as I can. But again, I'm digressing. Mars is going to square Jupiter, and so Jupiter's happy, jolly, etc. But when Mars does it, it's almost like the expansion can go overboard. So be careful about doing too much, overdoing it. You can pull muscles, you can strain in a physical sense, but you can also overreach in other ways, like going too hard when maybe you have to say to somebody, hey, I have a boundary here, but instead you build an entire wall. You do too much. So that's what you want to watch out for. It's a little bit today, but I think over the next few days you're going to feel it more, and it is exact tomorrow on the 18th. So then on October 22nd, the sun will go into Scorpio, and then we're more looking at what's the truth about things, what's hidden. I think that's when we will see, from a political standpoint, much more hidden stuff coming out, much more of people finding corruption or things like that underneath the surface. So, because actually, even though Libra is quite a martial sign, I talk about it as being more the general, the person who is controlling the troops and up on the hillside, directing how the war is going. It's still a sign of diplomacy and civility, like two generals politely meeting each other, So when we get into Scorpio, we have a little bit more of what I call that Loch Ness monster sort of thing, where the lake looks all smooth and calm, but there's a monster underneath. And when the sun is in Scorpio, then that monster can come forth. So then we get to see what it is. On October 27th, we have both Mercury and Venus going into the sign of Libra. And so now, even though the sun is in Scorpio, there will still be this need for diplomacy, balance. So for most of us out there, this will be about looking at what you're doing in your life and saying, do I have work-life balance? Do I have, am I balancing how much I'm sitting with how much I'm standing or walking? Am I doing exercise? Are my meals balanced? Is it just protein, just carbs, or is there a nice balance? Is there vegetables on the plate? So there's a lot of energy that way. Of course, if you're looking for love, this is really good for opening up communication. I mean, we're still not really able to meet people in person, but you can start a conversation with somebody while these planets are there. And, it can be a very pleasant conversation. You'll still have the sun in Scorpio, so you can find out the truth. That's, what that person might be, not wanting to put forth, I don't want to say concealing, but I know that when we present ourselves, we are presenting the best part of ourselves. And so, then as the Scorpio comes out, then you see, oh yeah, this is what the person would be like at home or in unguarded moments or things like that. So then it takes us to October 31st, and which is most of the reason why I'm making this video, even though, of course, I want to get a new moon video out. But that's the full moon, and it's a blue moon. And so that's a very special time. So October 31st is already a very special time. It's Halloween, it's Samhain, and that is this time where the veil between the living and the dead is very thin. It means that there's lots of ghosts around, and that's not meant to scare you. That's just that spirits can pass back and forth, as well as it is a time of letting go. It is a time of saying, okay, what do I no longer need in my life? It was the traditional end of the year, or at least the end of harvest, where you then were going to say, okay, we're going to buckle down and get ready for when winter begins in a month or so. So all of that said, this blue moon, which is very magical, mystical, it happens every 2.5 years or so, it gives you this opportunity to do a little magic, okay? And so, of course, there's tons and tons of videos on YouTube about how to do this type of magic. But what I would suggest is maybe to sit on Halloween night and think about a few things that you'd like to let go of. I'd like to write them on a piece of paper, and if I'm in a place where I can burn that paper, that's great. If that's not possible, another thing you can do is write it on little squares of toilet paper, with a felt tip, and then flush them down the toilet. Or you can just write them on a normal piece of paper and put them through the shredder. But you're taking something that's inside of you, you're putting it on a piece of paper, and then you are getting rid of it. And then the next day, All Saints Day, or what you it's November 1st, that day after, you can then say, all right, now that part is gone, now I can welcome in, peace, joy, prosperity, all the things that we all want. So you don't want to miss this October 31st to do this just little spiritual exercise to help you think about what you no longer need, and just take a small action to get rid of it. Then comes November 3rd, and Mercury goes direct, which means that on November 3rd, which is our election day, I'm here in the United States, and so it's our election day, it means that we have a stationary Mercury. And a stationary Mercury means information is not moving. So it is likely we're not going to find out who was elected on that day. And that's reasonable. There's lots of votes to count and all of that. Most years it's just a projection anyway, and it's not official for quite some time. But we're kind of in that feeling that we're supposed to know, but we're really not. And since I'm on the West Coast, we're hours behind New York, and so we always we kind of like it not knowing anyway, because we're still voting while your polls are closed. Anyway, all of that said, you can search and search and search for information on that day, but with Mercury stationary, it's just not there. So be patient when driving, be patient in your communications with people, because with a stationary Mercury, if people aren't aware of it, they can feel like information's being withheld or that somebody's being obstinate, when that's not really the case. On November 10th, Mercury goes into Scorpio. So between the 3rd and the 10th, Mercury will get up to speed and then zip into Scorpio. And so that'll be interesting, because it's possible at that point that what happens is that we may think that we know who is going to be president or know outcomes of elections, and at that point the energy could shift and then something gets revealed. And so that could be very interesting. On November 12th, that's a big day, because that will be the last of the Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions. And I've talked a lot about this, and I put it into my columns on astrology.com and horoscope.com. So this energy is extremely powerful, and so powerful that we as individuals need to use it in the scope of our own lives. So that is, if you can possibly reach out to someone who could be a mentor or an influencer or somebody, a celebrity, somebody you are interested in making contact with, that's your day to do it. If you can't take such concrete action, at least take a spiritual action, and go outside and tell the universe what it is that you're looking for. This is the type of energy where your ambitions and your desires just can reverberate through the universe. So you really want to use this energy. It is the last conjunction we're going to have for many years. I didn't calculate it out, but I'm sure it's going to be at least a decade. Well, yeah, it'll be more than a decade. I was doing some math there. But it'll be at least a decade before this happens again. And so you don't want to miss this opportunity. So, and then finally on November 13th, Mars goes direct and it begins to move forward. Now, it'll still be in Aries for some time, but it means that it's going to, again, square Jupiter, square Pluto, square Saturn. And so we'll talk about that next month. And, knock on wood, I'll be getting the video out much, much sooner. Now that I have a couple of the projects off my desk, now I can pay more attention to my videos. But that means we are kind of doing a repeat of some of the energies this month. So, when it comes to the pandemic and all of that, of course, we're seeing what they're calling here the third wave. I had said in previous videos that I thought we would have less cases in September, which we did. And now that we're in October, those cases are rising again. I said that it would be very wise to be stocked up so that you didn't have to go out so much towards late October and certainly in November. And I am pretty concerned about how we're going to do in November, because next month we'll be talking about a lunar eclipse, and then we'll have a solar eclipse. So I really want you guys to stay safe out there. And that means that we probably are limiting contact especially with the outside world. And now, of course, with the colder weather coming in, a lot of people are going to be indoors more. So it's really good to do the spiritual things too. I mean, do all the things that, your local officials are saying, of course, but also visualize white light around you, do prayer or meditation. So let go of fears and see yourself as a person who is protected. I know we've all had losses from this pandemic. Personally, I've lost family members. It's been super hard. So I'm sending you guys a virtual hug. I want you to stay safe, and then I will talk to you in the next video.